Good morning. This is Scott Cullen with the Cannata Report. It is so good to be with you again this morning for another episode of Fridays with Frank. Before I bring out Frank along with his special guests, don't forget, like, subscribe, comment. And now please welcome Frank Cannata. Hey, Frank, how you doing today? And who's your special guest?
Well, I'm very excited about our guest today, and I'm feeling great. Uh, I've known Frank Cucco 25 years, and he's always been an interesting experience. Let's put it that way. Frank, by the virtue of the way he conducts a business, is a teacher, and that's what I firmly believe. So I'd like to ask our audience to welcome Frank Cucco, Impact Networking. Welcome, Frank.
Hey, Frank, how you doing?
Doing good, my friend. Doing good.
Good.
Frank, I'd like to share with our audience the experiences we had in Puerto Vallarta, January 6th to 10th. For those that didn't read what we had written, this was a 25-year celebration for Impact Networking. And Frank, I integrated a typical internal meeting, and he had all those people there, and it was quite impressive. So, Frank, the question that I'd like to ask you, it just seemed to me that walking into that room and then sitting down at a table with people I didn't know me, it was so piped, so motivated. What is that something you generally experience when you have these meetings?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, we always have that excitement. We always have a positive culture at Impact. And I think it's something we work on every day to make sure that these employees are happy, that they have what they need to do their job successfully, and that we're supporting them. And when you do those things, then you don't have to be around for them to say, how much they like the company, how good the company is, and those type of things. You always have distractors, but, we have 1,000 employees, and I would say a substantial amount of them are pretty happy at Impact. And I think you probably saw that at the meeting. But that's something, we really work on two things: growing the company to provide opportunities for those employees, because if you're not growing, the opportunities are ending, and they can figure that out pretty quickly. And the other thing is working on culture constantly as we get bigger and bigger and try to maintain that family feel, which we have.
Well, I'll tell you, it's interesting to observe, and I also thought that when you it's at the end of the meeting, so let's talk about that later. When you announced the new CEO, Michael, and it just impressed me that usually a man with your experience really likes to have somebody older, I don't know, more established, call it what you will. And It's so unique to have a young man like that. And what was your thinking? What's the thought there?
Yeah, I mean, the thought is that, Mike grew up at Impact. He started right out of college. So he's well versed at our company, what we do. I think he's been here 17 years. He started as a sales rep, and then worked his way up to a manager, then a general manager, then a regional VP, and then a VP, and then obviously the CEO. But from a standpoint of experience and whatnot, I want the team that's underneath, or that is the new team that's running the company, the COO, CFO, and this, so on and so forth. I wanted a young group of people that were highly motivated and very creative. And that's why I did that, because I know that those guys all can go for the next 25 years without disruption. And you know what disruption does to a company. You don't want to have that often. So that was my thinking behind it. Hey, we can get a young team of people that are super motivated, super creative, like when we started Impact, and kind of have a rebirth.
Well, that's totally understandable. But boy, you gave him a hell of a challenge when he said you want him to get to $500 million. I love that one.
We have to give them some goals. But
Uh,
we're still, we're still behind the scenes, here for support and mentorship. And, we're just with like Dan, Tom, and I are working on other things now. So they're doing the day-to-day operations. They're running the company day to day. And we're working on how Impact can grow the company and how we can create more of a national footprint. So it's not like, I don't go to work anymore of this. It's like, okay, let me get my time back so I can work on other things, because traditionally Impact grew about 25 to 27% a year. And we all know that the industry is slowing down from a hardware standpoint. So the question is, like last year, we grew a few percentage points. I mean, for some people, it'd be great. I mean, it was like $6 or $7 million. But for us, that's not traditionally how much we would grow. We'd grow 20 million plus. So I want to get back to doing those things, helping the company figure out how to grow, whether that's through merger and acquisitions, whether it's through, there's a lot of really good people out there that are available right now that I can maybe, like we did with Kenny in Ohio. And our strategy is to open much smaller facilities, more pinpoint accuracy on the accounts, and try to get a network, because that network across the US will help us with our managed IT and our cyber business to get into higher level enterprise accounts.
So what do you position as the vehicle that's going to be the leader in getting you to those kind of numbers?
I think, the leaders will be IT and cyber for us, for Impact. Now, not everyone does those things. They can get there a lot of different ways, but to get there on hardware alone, as you can see, is very difficult. And there's only a few companies in our industry that have ever done that. So we would never get there on hardware, just because of the way the position the industry's in today. Although our hardware business grows, it's very difficult. If you do get into those other things, Frank, we're selling a way more A4 machines just because we're in those accounts for other services. And then they're just buying them because they buy them because they know us. And the margin on that is actually increasing because of that, because they're not going and shopping, they're not bidding it out. They just trust us because we're doing their IT or we're doing their cyber, and they're like, oh, you do printers or whatever, here, we'll get those too. And we do that through e-commerce.
Well, there were two things towards the end that really tore the place apart. And both of them, for me, I've never experienced seeing anything like that. The first one was when you announced the new partners.
Right, yeah.
Okay? I mean, I've never seen a dealer organization say you have a certain goal, you achieve this goal, we'll make you a partner. I've never seen that. What led you to come up with that kind of motivation?
I mean, the concept behind a partner is to reward people that have helped us get where we are at, and to make sure that they don't want to leave. I mean, they make substantially more money if the company's doing well. So it's almost, I don't want to say like a golden parachute, because that's not what it is, but they share in the success of the company if the company's successful, because that's what that partnership is. It's more like a law firm does. And we put a percentage of money away, and then they share that percent. And then there's another percentage of money that the board decides who that extra money goes to out of those partners. So that's how we work it. And that's why they're motivated. And obviously we want to keep them engaged in the business every day. And that does do that for them, because they're always chasing that money.
Well, that makes a lot of sense, because certainly that's got to be a huge motivational factor. But again, though, what I liked about, or what impressed me, was how responsive the entire audience was. They weren't winning, they weren't getting the big prize, so to speak. And they were like genuinely interested in seeing people that they knew and they liked and said great things. So, that to me exhibits a spirit of togetherness,
Yep.
which is so critical. And I guess that's something that you can point to with pride, bringing them together like that.
Yeah, for sure. That's been our tagline for a lot of years, has been one team. So, we always harp on that one team philosophy and helping each other, and another thing that's good in the impact business is that in our DNA, these people are used to constant change because of the way I ran the business. So change is not shocking to them. They embrace it. It's not like a lot of companies that you've been at or I've been at where change is almost impossible to happen because the people just won't allow it. And here they embrace it. But that's been something, again, that's been worked on since day one for people to understand, hey, changing is evolving.
We know each other a long time, Frank, and I'm so pleased to see what's happened to the business, and going back all those years ago when I used to come to the meetings. And good for you.
Thank you, Frank.
And thank you for everything. You've been a wonderful friend, and best of luck going forward, and get to that $500 million, will you?
I will. We will.
Take care.
Okay, take care, Frank. Thank you. Have a good day.